Now to a 2 News investigation, months in the making. Veterans all over the country have reported delays in care and a lack of accountability at VA medical centers across the country, including right here in the Miami Valley. Tonight, we are looking into the financial accountability after discovering tens of thousands of dollars worth of items went missing from the Dayton VA Medical Center in the past few years. Natalie Tindall with 2 News Investigates is getting answers about how those items went missing and who is accountable.
Well, last year I looked at state property that went missing, and this time around we looked at the Dayton VA Medical Center and the items that have disappeared there. We're talking everything from a bone surgery set to a pacemaker. All these items were paid for with your tax dollars. Marvin Bentley is a U.S. Air Force veteran. He reached out to 2 News Investigates almost 2 years ago with concerns about getting consistent care at the Dayton VA Medical Center.
And I kept getting the attitude of, if it's not following the list, let's leave it alone.
His experience left him with a disappointing view of an organization meant to help those who served our country.
It's lacking. It's the responsibility. It's accountability. It's lacking in this system. They're in their own little world.
We asked for a list of all missing, stolen, and damaged items since 2011. Everything from TV screens to medical equipment. We found more than $308,000 of items were on that list. For Bentley, it brought about more questions.
Where's the accountability? Where's the responsibility?
2 News Investigates wanted to know too. After receiving the list, we spent more than a month and a half tracking down someone at the VA Medical Center to talk about it.
Something that's lost, it may be stolen, it may have been a paperwork thing that we were never able to clarify, or it may be something that's simply been put into another room that we haven't been able to track down yet.
Items like computers, TVs, and cell phones are more likely to be stolen, according to Public Affairs Officer Ted Froats. But what about the bone drills, the medicine cart, or the $40,000 X-ray processing machine?
How does an X-ray machine go missing?
Yeah, and that really is one of those issues where it was likely turned in because it was broken, because it was outdated, whatever the situation may be, get a new one, but the paperwork wasn't done correctly. Most likely explanation.
Froats says they track $82 million worth of items in a given year, and they find 99%. If they don't, an investigation is started by the VA police and reviewed by a board of inspectors.
A lot of our equipment is mobile. For example, a stretcher, has wheels on the bottom. It gets moved around with the patient, and it started out in one service and then ends up in another. Eventually, it finds its way back.
Ultimately, the VA says they can't say for sure what happened to most of those lost items. In fact, when we first got the list from the VA and started asking questions, we were told it wasn't even accurate and had to be rechecked. Once we obtained the new list, we noticed about $400,000 worth of items were taken off it.
For starters, there were some instances of human error. That happens. We were able to flag those items and fix those. More importantly, there were items on the list that had been found and the report simply hadn't been updated.
Froats says the master list is all up to date now that we brought it to their attention. He says they're retraining staff to make sure they know how to properly report missing items.
People need to be trained better, frankly, on how the paperwork was supposed to be processed.
Bentley believes this speaks to the culture of not following through and being accountable to taxpayers.
When you're handed something that you never earned, you really appreciate it. They're not worried about it. It's upsetting.
Now, we've made it easy for you to see every taxpayer item that went missing, was stolen, or damaged at the VA, such as an examining table or bone saw. You can see them all right now on WDTN.com. Natalie Tindall, 2 News Investigates.